So some pretty interesting ideas from the founder of Goki, Mr. Vishal, particularly the idea of living longer, which is not on a hospital bed, but running and playing at 85. Fantastic ideas to absorb indeed, because health really is wealth. And I feel the more we take care of it in the younger years, the better off we are in the older years. And now taking you on to the next session. I spoke to you about Neuron, a center of excellence established by STPI a while ago when we were just beginning the day. Now, I must also take the time and tell you that the Neuron Center of Excellence offers technical knowledge, feedback mechanisms, and advisory to startups, along with the access to the pool of venture capitalists associated with Neuron. So many resources in one place. I think it's a wonderful place to be in. And Neuron also plays an important role in bringing various stakeholders together. Exactly how? It ensures necessary convergence and synergy through various programs and schemes of the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of Punjab, STPI, STPI Next, ISP, Chandigarh Angel Network, TIE Chandigarh, the Punjab Technical University, and SCL for promoting innovation and entrepreneurship. And further, keeping the goals of growth in mind, Neuron connects entrepreneurs with researchers, with additional focus on helping startups to commercialize the innovations. Now, this is a prime and exclusive feature of this particular center of excellence. Wonderful indeed, right? Now, on that note, to talk to us about the role of centers of excellence in catalyzing emerging tech startup ecosystems, we have our next speaker. Our next speaker comes in with an experience of product roadmap and marketing, as also business development, and now on the initiatives of STPI. He has understood the best of both worlds. And to tell us what's coming next, let's give it up for Mr. Subodh Sachan, Director of STPI and Managing Director of STPI Next. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Niharika, for a wonderful, such a nice words for introducing myself, and thanks also for introducing Neuron. And for good afternoon to everyone. I am Subodh Sachan, and Director STPI, and also taking care of various initiatives related to startup related activities within STPI and the ecosystem STPI. Today I have I'm privileged to be on this platform of TiECon. This is the sixth edition of TiECon Chandigarh event. I think within the northern India, TiECon Chandigarh is an event which all the startup ecosystem people literally look forward to. So kudos to the TiECon Chandigarh team for having this sixth edition, and typically and also today on the third day, and I think very successful last 2 days. On the first day, our Director General, Dr. Omkar Rai, spoke on the inaugural session. Followed that, I think STPI and TiECon has collaborated together as in past to announce, literally facilitate and also recognize all the entrepreneurs and all the IT startups and IT industry as a whole within the region of Punjab. So at least on that front, it's a privilege again for me to be talking today, and I'm sure the audience has heard very very wonderful speakers already here. Well, Punjab has a very strong ecosystem of ITA, ITAS, ESDM, and I'm sure we have today STPI has been catalyzing within Punjab various startup related activities in Neuron, which is our AI and data center, AI data analytics, AVG and IoT, center of excellence, is now fueling a lot of startups, the innovations through startups within the region of Punjab. What I want to really convey in this meeting, in this forum as well, Neuron is not a center of excellence. It's focused within Punjab and to cater to startups working within Punjab, but also this is a national center of excellence within STPI's portfolio, working on AI and IoT technologies and also data analytics. The reason being because it's as typically for each startups, when they look forward to some real problems and real market as well. I think so. It is typically said in the startup world, it's a place where the rubber meets the road, right? I think that's where the eventual translation will happen from problems to real solutions. And Punjab has that kind of market, has all the industries, whether it is agri-tech, whether it is textiles, whether it is pharma, whether it is healthcare, I think it's a home ground to ensure that startups will actually be able to get some real problems to solve, and hence they literally get into high of solving the problem. With that, Neuron has been established with the same vision, so that we create one of the biggest startup ecosystem in northern India, here in Punjab, in Mohali. Well, Punjab is an epicenter for a lot of startup activities, entrepreneurial activities in past, but Mohali and Tri-City has emerged as a startup hub already, and today the startup hub which Neuron is working on, in the next 5 years, it has a great vision to support good amount of startups altogether. We in Neuron, we are looking to support 50 startups actually in each year, so that these startups can nurtured and supported and actually graduated towards an STPI and STPI Next. Together with Neuron, we play a good role in terms of ensuring the success of the startups is taken care of. Well, before I get into my presentation, let me just very quickly let me share my screen, and I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Well, today this topic set role of Center of Excellence in catalyzing tech startup ecosystem in India. As we spoke in the last 2 decades, literally India, and last 3 decades, India has positioned itself as a great global outsourcing and offshoring hub altogether within IT in this industry. Today, we are $191 billion IT industry. We are 4.3 million, very skilled staff working across, all cutting edge technologies, right? And hence the startup, the emerging tech or deep tech, skill set which is available within our country is literally, very great. And when that happens, I think that's where the startup ecosystem gets its feet as well. Today, well, my ministry, which is Ministry of Electronics and IT, which has been on the forefront of across emerging tech and across various has been doing various interventions to support the whole industry, and in particular startup ecosystem. Mighty has already initiated what is called as Mighty Startup Hub. Mighty Startup Hub actually is now trying to bring all various emerging technologies, whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is IoT, whether it is big data, whether it is natural language processing, right? And across all emerging tech, Mighty Startup Hub has been established so that it can actually create a common, overarching ecosystem, so that the communication, so that knowledge sharing can happen, and the ecosystem which gets created within each incubator can be, can be accessed across, right? So Mighty Startup Hub is one of the initiative which has happened last 1 year or so, and today it boasts of a good number of startups, good number of incubators already in its under its umbrella. Within Mighty, there's also a national policy and software product was announced. The NPSP aim was, because today in industry, Indian government, Indian industry is known for as an IT outsourcing hub. But in terms, when it comes to the IT products, software products, our total share in the global software product market is very minuscule, right? Given that software product industry, and given when we want to move the value chain, it's important that there are good software products getting created. And for that software product, promotion, creation, and support, a national policy on software products was announced. Under national policy on software products, which had the aim to grow tenfold, the whole software product ecosystem in India. Currently, the today market size of Indian software product is only around $9.1 billion, whereas the globally the vision is the next 5 years we should grow from current $9.1 billion industry to around $70-80 billion industry. With that vision, STPI had established multiple centers of excellences in across various emerging technologies. While typically, I'll come to those areas later on. But what is important to understand is today Indian economy, yes, the startups are the driving force already. Where what is understood, what's also needs to be understood is startups are driving force, but it is important to understand what is required for the success of the startups, and that's where center of excellences are going to play a catalyzing role. Whether it is to develop, there is a need that rapid innovations must be facilitated. The intellectual capital must be grown. There is need for ensuring that startups do have some kind of shared risk profile, because today Indian startup ecosystem is, though definitely it's a strong foundation, is very good today. I mean, today we are talking about almost 40,000 plus startups working in Indian eco space. Out of that, 9,100 startups are tech ecosystem as when it's last counted, and I'm sure the number would have grown further. But these startup ecosystem, these startups, when we talk about numbers, we also need to understand how do we enable success for each of the startups. And for success, today, Indian ecosystem requires sharing of risk, requires a deeper collaboration, right? It's also understood very clearly when recently when the executives, so there was a survey done in the Indian IT industry, that almost it is an established fact that big companies require a strong collaboration with startups, right? And the startups at the same end, on the one hand, they big industry, big companies require to be nimble to ensure that they are able to develop solution with the agility. The startups are required, but startups need to have these deeper collaborations, right? While they bring in new skills, while they bring in overall success requirement in terms of new value which startups can create, but a center of excellence can play a key role altogether here. When we talk about why the startups, why is the need for incubator, why is the need for center of excellence to come into play, it's very clearly understood when there's an analysis done in terms of what is the ratio, why there are 90% of Indian startups are failing within the first 5 years, and this is a hard statistic which is available today. Now, this hard statistics is when within government, within an STPI, we are looking into we're looking into the data points, the failures, and I'm sure as a startup ecosystem and everybody in the startup ecosystem, including our partners, are aware that when we talk about the success scenario, or when we talk about the top reasons for the failures, yes, it's sometimes the business models are not working, but most often it has been seen if the startups are given good mentoring, good hand holding, and they are given good networking opportunities along with access to funds, right? I think that's when the startups will be actually in the path of accelerated success, right? And I'm using the word accelerated success because success will happen. But when you're talking about the tech industry, the technology industry is a fast moving industry, as everybody is aware of. Now, the success requires also getting into the market at right time, an opportune time. And that's the reason why, when we talk about, I'm sure our previous speaker would have spoken about, right? You would have heard from leaders in the industry. It's important to have a timing in the market. And for timing, it's important that, your products are getting ready, getting tested, right? The same time, your business model is also, sufficient, is good enough so that, your acceptance in the market can happen. Today, 45% of the, the venture capitalists, when they say that, that the presence of proven leaders is essential ingredients and for the willingness to invest in the startups, right? So the teams is very important. The experience part in the founders is also important. But when that needs to happen, what is required, if you look into the whole the needs and demands of startups, right? Where there is a good entrepreneurial culture required, there is a requirement of the strong mentorship, there is a requirement to have understanding of the regulatory environment, there is a requirement to have this collaborative culture being inculcated in the startups, there's a requirement to have very clearly shared risk, as I talked about, and access to capital, right? And given all this requirement, as TPI has established to address various these needs in a very, very collaborative way, has established multiple centers of excellence today. These collaborations are seen important from the fact that when we look into startups, when we look into mentors, this collaboration is very important. And this for this collaboration, STPI today has created 13 centers of excellence across India. These centers of excellences are in various domains, including Neuron, which I spoke about earlier. And each of them is built on a very collaborative model. And by collaboration, basically, it's on one end, we bring in the academia, on the other end, we bring in the industry and ensure that the industry and academia and the startups, They co-work to ensure that they are creating real solution for the real problems, and they're able to get into the market through the market access program, which STPI and STPI ecosystem enables them. Along with market access, the funding scenario is very important, and hence we are also in each of the center of excellence looking to enable a funding, good funding ecosystem for the startups to proceed, including the government's own funding scheme today. In recently, STPI has launched Next Generation Incubation Scheme. The sole aim of the scheme was to ensure that the first fund can be enabled to the startups working on the software product, and various software product scenarios. Now, this is when we talk about the first fund access, it's also important to understand that the whole industry gets dispersed as well. And that's the reason why our center of excellences are today located in cities like Hyderabad, Pune, Bangalore, but also in various tier 2 cities, right? We have two very focused center of excellences in Bhubaneswar. We have one upcoming in Patna. And again, the reason I'm talking about, because the whole aim of creating this catalyzing ecosystem is important, that we're creating an inclusive ecosystem. And inclusiveness in terms of geography is very important. Each region, as I said, Punjab brings its own uniqueness in terms of problems, in terms of opportunities. At the same time, the Northeast has its different problems and different opportunities. STPI has already launched 3 center of excellences under the brand Octane, which is in the city of Guwahati, Shillong, and Imphal. Each of them is very focused in mapping the talent which is available within the region, and that's the reason why we are saying when we're looking to startups, we are looking at 360-degree view of each of the startups, and we're also enabling a 360-degree support for each of the startups. While we are doing this, what is the vision? I think the vision is very clearly and this vision is already getting translated as I speak today. Today, as I said, 13 center of excellence are available. From these 13 center of excellences, in next 4 to 5 years, we are looking to support 1,550 plus startups working across various emerging technologies, whether it is a blockchain technology, whether it is virtual reality, augmented reality, whether it is gaming, whether it is sectors like fintech, right? Across each technology and across each subdomain of a sector, we are setting up these centers, and we are looking to support 1,550 startups. And startups working from various geographies, as I spoke earlier. Now, these startups are not just getting support in terms of incubation, what we are trying to look into, but we are looking into how do we catalyze that. And for catalyzation, it's important to have a structured program. And we are today, our center of excellences are looking as an incubation and are primarily targeting incubation space. We are still not, I'll say getting into acceleration space, because these two spaces have a different, requirement, different mapping in terms of the life cycle of startups. And hence, all our center of excellences are looking to enable the elements of typical incubators, right? And when we talk about incubator, structured programs an important activity, and hence each of the startup which comes into STPI portfolio or STPI ecosystem is first subjected to the typical evaluation by virtue of where they stand, their understanding of the market, their understanding of the business canvas, their understanding about go-to-market strategies they need to adopt. And that's what typically we enable as a first 3 months for each of the startups. And obviously next 6 months is where they need to ensure that they do a POC, they do a prototyping, they do the pilot. And then that's where each of our program will enable them the market access, the limited market access wherever it is required, and also the first funding opportunity. With that, we are looking into each of these 1,500 startups, at least we are looking into 1/3 of them actually get into the marketable product space, marketable product stage. Now, this is I'm sure when we talked about earlier 90% failure, we are talking about now increasing the success ratio from almost to 35%, and 40% is typically the range we are looking into. And that's the range where our center of excellences are actually playing a critical role to each of the startup, right? While we do that, and since we are talking about building getting into the value, going up into the value chain, it's important that each of the product is also backed by the intellectual property. And hence when we are looking into startups, we are also, and it's as a typical incubator, I'll say it's not something unique we're trying to do, but what we want to do is to facilitate and guide and coach the startups, that there is a need for creating IPRs. Because when we talk about a technology industry, when we talk about the cutting edge emerging technology or deep tech in the ecosystem, it's important that each of them builds their own USP in terms of IPR as well. And hence we bring in the facilitation support so that the IPR can be enabled. While we do that, this journey is not possible, without a partner ecosystem. And that's what I said, we are building this in a very collaborative way altogether. Now, collaboration across, as I said, the industry associations, the academia. Today STPI ecosystem is, can boast of, of almost 110 partners, including TiE Chandigarh. And TiE Chandigarh, let me, spend a couple of minutes here, has been playing a very, very, collaborative and critical role in our Neuron, and, within Neuron, outside Neuron as well. Now various TiE chapters are very, very well engaged within STPI ecosystem. While we bring in all of the program support, it's the whole process of mentoring, the process of selection, process of screening is also very critical. And hence that's where, we look forward to partners like TiE. We look forward to partner TiE to create the visibility, to ensure that startups find a right place within this ecosystem of center of excellences. Today, there are multiple, incubators and COEs getting into within India. But as I said earlier, it's important that when a startup has a good idea, it needs to find its market. The place of an idea is not in a presentation, not in PPT, it's into real products. And that translation must happen in time. And for that, it's important that a startup gets a good destination. And that's where our partners like TiE create a visibility that what each COE is capable of doing, and hence why it becomes your first destination as a startup ecosystem. When you talk about, any entrepreneur, when they talk about their ideas, they need to ensure, they need to be aware what are my opportunities, which are the incubators which can literally help me, guide me, and support me for my journey. So for that, our partner ecosystem is very, very is important. And that's the reason why we have built a strong partner ecosystem. And while we do that, our whole aim is, typically as a government organization, as we looking into making India a global entrepreneur leader. Today we are, in terms of startup ecosystem, we are still ranked number 3, right? But I'm sure, given our our demography, given our skill set, given our our strengths, right, we need to get into more of startups needs to come emerge. When we talk about unicorns today, the number is already grown to 38. That's a good number to have, but at the same time, is that what is our aspiration as a country? And I think aspiration is very clearly that we need to have more successful startups, more startups coming out of from our ecosystem. And what is required for each of these startups, I think we are building that. When it comes to mentorship program, when it comes to access to funds, when it comes to as a government looking into various incentives which can be extended to the startups, right? But most important, whether we can build a collaborative hub. And that's where Mighty Startup Hub, STPI Startup Hub, and STPI umbrella of getting all creating all network of COEs, and the network where each startup may access, maybe part of one center of excellence can access another center of excellence is important. And hence we are building this in a very collaborative way, and also ensuring that a startup, when it comes to, let's say, Neuron, can access my IT Open Lab in Bangalore. If they need any advanced mentoring support or advanced lab support, they can actually leverage that. And similarly, when it comes to Mighty Startup Hub umbrella, I'm sure each of these centers, center of excellence will be able to enable a collaborative ecosystem to each of the startups. With that, our overall aim is very clearly that these startups literally get a nice place to work upon. Let me just stop sharing. Now, with this, finally, what is also one of the topics across in this today's this was also in terms of what AI can bring in. I think AI has a very strong potential. Already, our Honorable Prime Minister has talked about what a role AI can play, right? The potential of AI, in creating a $5 trillion digital economy, which we are talking about. AI is a very AI cuts across multiple today. When someone talks about trio of various technologies, whether it's AI, data analytics, and machine learning, it has strong potential, and that's the reason why Neuron, we are very clearly focused to create the nurturing ecosystem within a Punjab, within our Tri-City of Mohali. So I'm sure for each of the startups, the whatever catalyzing role as center of excellence which we are building, and our aim is that to give you a top destination, to give you a one-stop incubator when you come to STPI. And with that, let me again thank Ty. I think for inviting me on this platform, and I look forward to having continued discussion with startups. Any questions to me, and I'm sure to me or to any of our STPI officers, we are there to answer you. So with that, let me end it here, and thank you.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session, and thank you so much for praising Thai a lot in your PPT slides. We definitely look forward to host you again and learn more from you. I really remember my first class on AI when I had in my college days, and the experience of technology, the mindset which I had totally changed after that first class in machine learning. With this, we bring the session to a close. Thank you again, sir, for a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.